We are exactly 35 days from the midterms, and the great threat is no longer voting machines malfunctioning or ballots being spoiled, according to our next guest. It is the actual theft of an election. It is the brazen abuse of power that requires not only bad actors in high places, but the tacit consent of the voters who put them there. It could be, as one longtime election worker tells Tim Alberta in his latest piece for The Atlantic, democracy's last stand. Joining me now is Atlantic staff writer Tim Alberta. His new piece is titled Bad Losers. Tim, it's a really interesting piece, as all of them are. But before we go deep into it, can we start in 2000 and the election of George Bush? What happened at Bush v. Gore? What was the aftermath of that in terms of hardening up our elections?
Yeah, Katie, it's hard to remember now. It feels like an eternity ago. But in the aftermath of Bush v. Gore, there really was a consensus, a bipartisan and nonpartisan consensus among people who run elections in this country that serious changes needed to be made, that systems needed to be modernized, that workers needed to be trained more properly. There was just, I think, an understanding all the way around that this could not happen again. And there were a lot of gains made. There was some trial and error and not everything worked. But by and large, a lot of the results that came out of these attempts in the aftermath of Bush v. Gore, including really the big one, was that Congress passed a law that funneled a ton of resources to states and localities to modernize their equipment, better train workers, et cetera, et cetera. There were really a lot of positive outcomes there. And in fact, Florida, which of course was the poster child for dysfunction in 2000, Florida now arguably has the most efficient vote counting operation in the country. You recall on almost any given election night, Florida is the first out of the gate to report all of their results. So we have seen some positives come out of those efforts at reform in the past.
So the infrastructure got better, the machines got better, but did our trust in the system get better?
Yeah, well, that's the other side of the coin, right? Because you have, on the one hand, again, bipartisan and nonpartisan efforts to reform the system. And yet, what you also saw in the aftermath of Bush v. Gore, Katie, was a really sharp rise in election litigation, right? You saw party lawyers on the Republican side and on the Democratic side in big statewide races with national implications, but also in smaller races, state legislative races, even sort of city council mayoral races. You saw litigation skyrocket to unprecedented levels. And what it did was you saw what Rick Hasen at UCLA, who's one of the leading experts in the country on sort of election administration, election law, he writes about sort of the sore loser syndrome, where basically you see public confidence ebbing and flowing based on whether their preferred candidate, their preferred party won the last election. So even as this is really the key, I think, dichotomy here, Katie, even as our systems were getting hardened and were becoming more transparent, more efficient, more accurate, at the same time, public confidence in the institution of the ballot box was on sort of a slow, long decline.
And that's in large part because politicians have started attacking all of the systems, and the sore loser syndrome, as you're talking about, it really got to its most extreme with what happened in 2020. And so if we're going to fast forward to the election that's 35 days away, what is the concern?
I think the concern, plainly spoken, is that you now have individuals running for offices, including offices that will have direct influence, direct control over the certification and the administration of elections, who are making no secret of their intention to put a thumb on the scales, to try to affect partisan outcomes. And listen, I think we've all become somewhat desensitized to the rhetoric surrounding 2020 being stolen and that the system is rigged, there's a deep state, et cetera, et cetera. But as you said at the top, Katie, I think we have to recognize now that the threat is no longer just machines malfunctioning or lines snaking around the block. I mean, we do have problems, real problems with the way our elections are run. That's inevitable. They need to be addressed. But I think the real threat now, a grave threat, is that you do have these individuals running for these extraordinarily powerful offices who are winking and nodding, and in some cases not even winking and nodding, about their intention to potentially throw the next presidential election in 2024.